My dad laughed, lifting his glass like he was toasting a joke I didn't get. Your sister earned everything on her own, he said. Eyes on me, unlike you. The table went still. My mom's hand froze over the serving spoon. I leaned back, feeling something sharp settle in my chest, and said quietly, "Then I'll stop sending you money." The color drained from his face. What money? In that silence, the house finally told the truth. It had been hiding for years. That was the night I stopped being the quiet one. Before I tell you how everything unraveled after that, tell me, where are you listening from so I know I'm not the only one who's had to draw the line? From the outside, we looked like a family worth envying. Sunday dinners, framed smiles, matching sweaters on Christmas cards. But perfection is easier to print than to live. My name's Rachel Shortridge. I'm 32, the quiet daughter, the one who learned early that keeping peace sometimes meant swallowing your own voice. Helena, my older sister by 2 years, was the golden one. Teachers adored her, neighbors bragged about her, and my parents treated her success like a shared inheritance. My dad, Frank, ran our house the way he ran his old restaurant. Every opinion had to pass through him. Mom, gentle but exhausted, spent years translating his pride into apologies no one asked for. When the recession hit, their mortgage slipped behind. I had just started my job at an architecture firm, barely steady myself, but I told Mom I'd help until they caught up. $5,000 a month, quietly, responsibly. Dad refused to use online banking. He didn't trust screens with his money. So I wired everything to Helena's account. She promised to deliver it in cash or check, said it made things easier. I believed her, because believing her was what we all did. Over time, those transfers became routine, like paying a bill for peace. Each month, I sent the money and waited for a thank you that never came. When Dad mentioned the mortgage being under control, I felt a small warmth, thinking I'd helped. Helena would send an occasional text. Handled. And that was it. Still, something always felt off. The last time I visited the house looked more tired than before. Paint peeling, the fridge humming too loudly. Mom smiled through it the way she always did. Helena's helping us manage things, she said. I wanted to believe it, I really did. That night, while Dad turned up the volume on the evening news and Helena scrolled through her phone, I sat at the same table I'd grown up at, staring at the family photo framed above the fireplace. 4 smiles, 1 truth missing. If I'd looked closer, maybe I'd have seen what was coming. The cracks already running through our perfect picture. Dinner that night felt like everyone before it. Too polite to be real. The table was set with the good plates that only came out on holidays. Mom's rosemary chicken filled the air, the same scent I'd loved as a kid, back when the silences hadn't yet learned to bruise. Dad poured himself another glass of wine, looked around the table like a man inspecting a stage, and then smiled in Helena's direction. Your sister really figured it out, he said proudly. She's got instinct, ambition. He looked at me when he said it, but the smile wasn't for me. I felt it like a splinter under the skin. A familiar, sharp, impossible to ignore. I'm happy for her, I said, the way I'd said it my whole life. Mom nodded absently, reaching for the mashed potatoes. Her hand trembled a little. Dad chuckled, adding, all on her own too. No handouts. The air changed. The clink of his glass against the table sounded louder than it should have. I could have smiled and let it go, the way I always did. Instead, I leaned back in my chair and heard my own voice. Low but clear. Then I'll stop sending you money. The room froze. Even the hum of the refrigerator seemed to pause. Mom's spoon hung midair. Helena's fork slipped and hit her plate with a dull scrape. Dad blinked once, twice, before his expression broke. What money? He asked. His tone wasn't angry. It was confused, sincere. That was the worst part. I met his eyes. The 5,000 I've been wiring to Helena every month for you and Mom since last April. He frowned. You've been what? Mom looked at Helena, her face draining of color. Helena straightened in her chair, her voice brittle. She's exaggerating. There were delays. Some months she sent it late. Every month, I interrupted, quietly. The first of each one. I have the confirmations. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful, it was surgical. It cut. Dad turned to Helena again. We never saw a cent. Helena's jaw tightened. You don't understand. There were expenses. Investments. What kind of investment costs $60,000 and leaves you with nothing to show for? I asked. Her eyes flashed. You wouldn't get it, Rachel. You never believe in anything unless it's safe. Believing in family shouldn't be unsafe, I said. Mom's eyes filled, her voice trembling. Helena, is it true? Helena looked away. It's complicated. The steam from the food had gone cold. I stood up, pushing my chair back slowly. Then I guess it's her problem now. Dad's hand gripped the edge of the table. He looked at Helena again, but she wouldn't meet his eyes. And in that single breath between truth and denial, I knew the house had just changed forever. That night, the house stayed awake. Every wall seemed to breathe with us, restless and heavy. I lay in my old room, staring at the ceiling, tracing the faint glow of the plastic stars I'd stuck there when I was 16. Down the hall, voices murmured. Mom crying softly, Dad pacing. Helena's door stayed shut. I turned on my lamp and opened my laptop. The habit was automatic now. Check the payments, the transfers, the statements. Each line stared back at me like an accusation. $5,000 on the first of every month. My own digital fingerprints on a crime I hadn't meant to commit. $60,000 in total. Gone. The next morning, Dad sat at the kitchen table with his head in his hands. Mom stood by the window, still in her robe, coffee gone cold. She says it's tied up in something, Mom whispered. A company? A company doesn't eat mortgage payments, I said. It eats trust. Dad's jaw flexed, eyes red. We'll talk to her when she wakes up. But Helena didn't wake up. She was already gone. Her car missing from the driveway, her room empty except for a perfume cloud that lingered like a lie. A single sticky note sat on her dresser. Don't overreact. I'll fix it. I stared at the words until they blurred. She's not fixing anything, I said. She's running. Mom began to cry again. Small, broken sounds. Dad grabbed his coat, muttering something about finding her. I caught his arm. Wait, you can't chase her without proof. Let me handle this. He looked at me like he didn't know whether to trust me or himself. Then he nodded once. That day, I did what Helena never expected. I worked the problem like a blueprint. I started with the structure. Every transaction, every date, every message. Then the weak points where the money changed hands. Each transfer confirmed Helena's account every time. Evan came over that evening, my laptop glowing between us. You're digging deep, he said quietly. I have to, I replied. This isn't just about the money. It's about how long she thought she could lie to me and get away with it. He nodded. What's your next step? The bank, I said. And then a lawyer. At the branch, the manager frowned as she looked through the records. These were all redirected, she said, pointing to Helena's name. Account holder used the funds for private transfers. Looks like another intermediary. To who? I asked. She hesitated. A man named Mason Vale. I felt something inside me lock into place. A name, a direction, a trail. When I walked out of that bank, the cold January air hit my face like a vow. I pulled my coat tighter and whispered to myself, You wanted to play with trust, Helena? Fine. Let's see how much truth costs. 3 nights later, the doorbell rang just after sunrise. I was in the kitchen with Mom, both of us running on little sleep and too much quiet. Dad was still upstairs, sorting through papers he no longer trusted. When I opened the door, a man stood on the porch. Jeans, hoodie, the kind of smile people practice in the mirror. Morning, he said easily. You must be Rachel. I'm Mason. The name landed like a stone. Helena's Mason? He chuckled. I guess you could call me that. Behind me, I heard Dad's footsteps, slow but heavy. He came to stand beside me, his voice low.
What are you doing here? Mason held up a small folder like a peace offering. Just clearing up a misunderstanding. Helena asked me to drop these off, proof of our investment. Mom appeared in the doorway, pale and trembling. Investment? Mason flashed his grin again. Startup work. We're building an app connecting local artisans with clients. Scalable, forward-thinking, you know how it is. I stepped aside. Show us. He entered like he owned the place, spreading out glossy printouts across the table. Mock-ups, fake charts, random buzzwords. Phase 1 projected growth, beta launch. Not a single number added up. Dad flipped through the pages, face tightening with each turn. "This is nonsense," he said. Mason's smile faltered. "Every big thing starts small." $60,000 small, I shot back. He looked at me, still pretending calm. "You've been talking to Helena." "No," I said. "I've been talking to the bank." The air shifted. Mom clutched the back of a chair. Dad's breathing grew rough. Mason leaned on the counter, casual again, but his eyes were sharp. "You don't understand," he said. "She wanted this. She believed in me." "And you let her believe," I said, "because it paid your rent." Before he could answer, the sound of tires crunching on gravel filled the silence. I turned to the window. Helena's white sedan pulled into the driveway. She stepped out, sunglasses on, though the sky was gray. The door opened, and there she was. Hair perfect, coat too expensive, smile practiced. When she saw Mason, her expression cracked. "What are you doing here?" Mason's voice softened instantly. "Babe, I told you I'd fix it." Her jaw tightened. "You weren't supposed to come here." Dad's voice was quiet but deadly. "You took your sister's money. You lied to us." Helena's eyes flicked between us. "It's not what you think." "Then explain it," I said. "Because 60,000 disappeared, the mortgage fell behind, and somehow he's driving a new car." She looked at Mason. "You said we'd double it in a year." His shrug was careless. "Plans change." "Plans." Dad's fist hit the table so hard, the glasses rattled. "You stole from your own family." Helena flinched, but still clung to the illusion. "It's not stealing if it's an investment. We just needed time." Mom's voice broke. "We skipped our payments because we trusted you." The silence afterward was the kind that swallowed sound. I took a step closer to Mason. "So, what's your real job?" He smirked. "I'm an entrepreneur." "Funny," I said. "Your last business owes back child support." His face twitched. Helena turned toward me, shocked. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out my phone and showed her the messages. The woman with the toddler who'd knocked on our door yesterday. "She's been looking for you, Mason." "For him." Helena's hand went to her mouth. "You lied to me." He sighed like a man tired of drama. "I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you everything." "That's the same thing," I said. Dad moved around the table, standing toe-to-toe with him. "You're leaving this house now." Mason's smile vanished completely. "You can't stop her from seeing me. She's an adult." Helena's voice was shaking. "I'm not going anywhere with you." He reached for her arm and instinct kicked in. I stepped between them. "Don't touch her." The sound of sirens grew louder outside. Mason froze, eyes narrowing. "What did you do?" "Just returning the favor," I said. "I called the police an hour ago. They're very interested in where the money went." He backed toward the door as flashing lights painted the walls red and blue. 2 officers entered. "Mason Vale?" one asked. Mason tried to laugh. "This is a mistake," but his voice broke when they cuffed him. Helena sank into a chair, her entire body shaking. Dad leaned against the counter, pale and silent. Mom cried into her hands. As they led Mason out, he turned to me, his voice a whisper meant to cut. "You think you've won? There's always another version of me out there." I met his eyes, then I hoped she finds someone like me too. The door shut behind him, the house exhaled for the first time in months. 2 weeks later, the police called. They had found evidence of multiple scams. 5 women, same story, same promises. Mason had pleaded guilty. The prosecutor wanted Helena's testimony to strengthen the case. At first, she refused. "I can't face him again," she whispered. "You already did," I told her, "and you survived it." In court, Helena sat beside me. She spoke softly but clearly, describing how Mason convinced her to invest, how he'd used my transfers as seed money. Her hand shook, but her voice held steady. When Mason tried to look at her, she didn't look back. When the verdict was read, 3 years in prison, 18 months without parole, the room went still. No applause, no celebration, just relief. Dad's hand found mine under the table. Mom sobbed quietly beside him. Helena let out a breath that sounded like surrender. As the bailiff led Mason away, his last glance was met with nothing. We walked out of that courthouse into cold, bright daylight. For the first time, it didn't sting. It felt clean. Later that night, back home, I stood in the backyard holding a small box. Photos, old receipts, a few notes he had written. Helena, she stood next to me, lighter in the shoulders than I'd ever seen her. "Are you sure you want to do this?" I asked. She nodded. "It doesn't mean anything now." I struck the match. The flames caught, curling through the paper, turning everything he had touched into smoke. We watched it rise into the January sky until nothing was left but ash. Helena whispered, "He took so much from me." I looked at her, then make sure he never gets another inch. By spring, she had found a small job at an office downtown. Mom tended her garden again. Dad fixed the railing on the porch he'd ignored for years. The silence that used to hurt now felt almost gentle. One afternoon, Helena came to me with a small envelope. Inside was a photo of us as kids at the county fair, missing teeth, sticky fingers, laughing like we didn't know what betrayal meant. On the back, she had written, "Thank you for not giving up on me, even when I deserved it." I didn't say anything. I just hugged her. For once, the house didn't need words to stay standing. The weeks after the trial felt strange, like the air inside the house had been rewired. Mom started leaving the curtains open again, sunlight spilling across the kitchen tiles. Dad took long walks in the morning, no longer carrying that tightness in his shoulders. And Helena, she didn't try to perform anymore. No perfect hair, no expensive perfume, no excuses, just her quieter, humbler self, still finding her footing. She found work as an office assistant downtown. It wasn't glamorous, but she said it felt honest. Every evening, she came home with a packed lunchbox and new lines on her hands, the kind that came from effort instead of guilt. Sometimes I'd catch her sitting in the garden with Mom, planting herbs, the same rosemary Mom once used to season the chicken that started everything. One night, Dad sat beside me at the table while I went through some bills. "I think we made her this way," he said softly. "We kept calling her special until she thought she couldn't fail." I looked at him. "We all played our part, but we're fixing it now." He nodded, exhaling. "I'm proud of you, Rachel." It hit harder than I expected. Maybe because it was the first time he'd said it without comparing me to anyone else. Later, Helena joined us carrying 3 mugs of tea. "We'll be okay," she said, half to herself, half to us. For the first time in years, I believed her. The house was finally quiet, but not the kind of quiet that hides pain. This was a different silence, the kind built on truth. A month later, I packed my suitcase for Seattle. A new job, a new start. The morning light pulled through the kitchen windows as Mom folded laundry and Dad read the paper like old times. Helena walked me to the car, her sweatshirt sleeves pushed up, a faint smile on her face. "You're really leaving," she said. "It's time." I answered. She slipped an envelope into my hand, a photo of us as kids holding cotton candy, cheeks sticky with sugar. On the back she had written, "Sometimes you have to lose everything to see what's worth keeping." As I drove away, I looked once in the rearview mirror. The house looks smaller, but lighter somehow. Family doesn't break you unless you let it. If this story hit close to home, share yours in the comments and subscribe for more.